Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the jungle temple. We need to follow a similar process to the one we did with the desert temple yesterday, so we're going to start off by taking a look at the dimensions. And here it is. From above it's a rectangle. The width is 12 blocks from one side to the other. It's 14 blocks high and 15 blocks from back to front. I'm going to pick out the blocks I think I need to build this and the chunk around it, world edit in a blank chunk here, and then we're going to jump in and take a tour. Okay, and here we are. This is our blank chunk. I've just world edited that in. I'm going to pop some grass blocks down here. You can see on my bar that I've picked out some of the blocks I think I'm going to need to build the jungle temple chunk. Let's head inside now and take a tour. So we come in to a stairway on the left and right, and a stairway down to the base. We can walk around the back of the stairwell, and there's a window here at the back. And then up the inside stairs, we get to another window at the back of the chunk. Sets of windows on the left and right hand sides, and these are one wide windows, with pillars again on the side of the windows, the same as the two wide window at the back. Then at the front, another two wide window with pillars on the side. And if we look up, we can see the ceiling slopes inwards. Let's head down to the base and take a look at that. So we come down here, it's a bit darker. On the left hand side we have a series of 3 levers, and on the right hand side little alcoves here, trap on the floor, and round the back a reward chest, and another dispenser hidden here. Those are the key features I think I want to capture from the inside. Let's go and look at the top of the temple now. So again we can see these pillars now that we saw on the inside. They come up the sides of each window, and there's a block on the top of some of them. We've got these quite distinctive pillars on the top of the temple, and a natural pyramid rise in the middle, with some other little pillars here. I'm going to have a think now about how I want to capture this, and put it into this space. Right, so I've gone ahead and I've marked off the walkway here, which will form the edge of the jungle temple. This walkway here, along the side, round the back, and back to the front of the temple. You can also see I've put in a marker for the door. Let's go ahead and fill that in. So the player would run through the door, into the temple, down the stairs, up the sides, and have a number of options available to them. I want to make sure the jungle temple, just like all the other structures, works on a block level for players. They need to be able to run around it, and for that reason I think we need to design from the inside out again. So I've left 3 spaces on the side of the jungle temple chunk right now. I may need to extend this to 4, but I'm not sure yet. I want to make sure I can fit things in like the jungle undergrowth, the scrub and brush you see naturally in jungles. So where they have pieces of jungle wood like this, and then leaves around. I think that's a really nice feature, and I want to find a way of including this on the jungle chunk. The next task I think we've got is starting to think about the base here, filling this in with cobblestone, and then looking at the walls and how the second tier on the jungle temple works. So if you look at it from front, or even side on, you can see that the base actually looks quite squashed in comparison to the upper tier, and I want to capture that feature. I also want to think again about these side pathways. I'm not actually sure that 3 blocks is going to be enough. I think we're going to need 4, because I also want to put in jungle trees. Now some of them are too wide, like this, and I don't want them against the edge of the chunk. I want them set in a block. But I've been thinking about the walls. If they come up here, and then the upper tier comes out a block, they're going to touch the edge of this tree. And I don't really like how that looks. Diagonal touching blocks look a bit nasty. So I think I'm going to have to move this wall in one, and the walkway in one. I'm not sure if that's going to leave us enough space, but I'm going to go ahead and change out these blocks now for cobble, and then we'll come back and look again at what we've got. Okay, so I've gone ahead and swapped out all those grass blocks for cobble in the centre. I've shrunk down this 10 by 10 square to an 8 by 8, and I've started putting in the second level here. So you can see that forms the base of the second level and the roof of the walkway that you come down here. We've also managed to get rid of this nasty diagonal touching block. The next thing to do is think about the stairs on the inside, and we're looking for a 1-in-1 incline here, which I think will fit in. But let's take a quick look at the temple. Yeah, this also goes up 3 blocks, so let's pick the stair. Obviously we're not going to have this amount of room at the front of our temple, but I do think we have got space for the stairwell. So we would put those here, and then mirror that on this side. We'll do the rest of that later. We can put cobble underneath, and then we'll come up to the second level here, and this will be where the windows are. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this second level all around here, bring up the wall, and then I'll bring you back. Right, so here's our second level. I've brought the wall up from the base, built the second level, and then put the second tier wall in as well. And next I want to think about the windows. So I'm going to punch a 2 wide hole here at the front, which should be there and there, and at the back. And that's in the middle of the temple, just the same as on the actual temple. I'm going to grab some mossy and create these little pillars here, something like this, and on the front. Okay, I think that looks quite nice. Now the sides are a bit more of a problem. I think we've got a few options here. I'm going to show you 3, and then we can take a decision together on what's best. On the actual jungle temple in vanilla, you could see there's a set of 2 1-wide windows. So we can either put those here and here on the corners, and then maybe have our little pillars there, or we can put them here and here, and then on the outside we'd have our pillars there and there, but we would normally have one on the other side of the window as well, which would be here. But that creates this sort of ugly 2 by 2 square in the middle, so I'm not sure I like that, so I'll take that out. But these are the options. We've got this one with the windows closer together but the pillars further apart. We've got this one with the windows further apart but the pillars closer together, and that's consistent with the front and back because there's a distance of 2 between those. And I don't mind how it looks from the outside, but I am concerned how it is from the inside as a usable PvP space. So if somebody's trying to fire a bow out of this window, they don't have as much view as I'd like them to have of the arena. I want to make sure that players can see as much as possible whenever they're doing things. Information is key in Chunk Wars, and I don't want to unnecessarily restrict the information that a player can get. So I think my preference is to copy the 2 wide windows from the front and the back and front around to the sides and do away with these 1 wide windows. I think my second preference is probably this one because the outside is consistent, but I don't really like how the window looks like it's in the corner from the inside, so that's a concern. I much prefer this, but I don't like the pillars on the outside as much with this version. So let me know what you think, whether this one, or this one. So the next set of tasks we need to think about are the roof on top, the stairs on the inside down to the basement, and the externals of the chunk. I'm going to go ahead and turn all this glass into stone in a bit on the outside layer, and then I want to think about these trees and how far apart they need to be. So I'll use World Edit to do that, and then I'll make a copy of this chunk and put it over here, and we can work on the trees and the undergrowth together. So here we are on the inside of the jungle temple chunk at the bottom of the stairs. You can see I've filled in the stone on the walls of the outside, and the inside is still all glass. Let's run up the stairs, and I don't hit my head here, although it is quite close. I don't think it's too bad. The dirt I'll change out for cobblestone later, and then I'll think about this second level and add in some detailing and things like that. But let's go up and look at the roof for a second. You can see I've put in a roof, and I've recessed this little 2 by 2 square on the top to represent the pyramid. I've also popped in these little pillars, and I want this top to have the feel of the temple over here as well, so that if a player was approaching from this side, attacking your stronghold chunk, which would be over there, and they come into the jungle temple and get up onto the roof, I want them to be able to move around, to sneak behind these pillars, to not be seen, to hold down shift like this, and then to be able to jump up on the middle if they want to, and back down again, still holding shift. Now a good player will know that, and will know that they don't have to unshift and jump up. I do want to restrict the players a little bit though, to create situations where they can be seen and things like that. So I think I'm actually going to put this block back in. Although it touches the pillar, and I'm not keen on the look, I think we get more out of it by having a larger structure on the top. So I'm going to make this edit, bring this up by one block, put another ring in around the outside, and we'll see how that looks. So here is our jungle temple topper, from the front and the side. And then from the inside, you can see we've got a really nice recess now in the ceiling. And we'll break up the look of this mossy with some normal cobble later. On the outside, I've also cleaned off all the trees and scrub from the outside of the chunk and taken out those vines. Now I want to put those back in, but in a bit more of a planned way. So I'm going to grow the trees naturally using jungle saplings later. I want to mark that off. But let's put in some wood for now, so you can see where I want the first tree. I want this first 2x2 tree on this side very specifically because I think there's a really cool rush strategy I can build into the map using an ender pearl and a jungle tree. These will be jungle leaves obviously normally, out here on a flat canopy and people will be able to move around the arena really quickly. So that's my first tree. I then want a space between this tree and the next tree, so let's put in some shrub, a bit like this, and on the sides. But I don't want to block off this doorway, so if a team has bridged in from this side using grass or dirt or wood or whatever blocks they've got, and they run in here, I want them to be able to dive into the jungle temple, grab the loot and get back out. And then if they want to come back later and use it as a PvP space, shooting out windows, they can. So let's put in a second piece here. We're getting some sound lag there. That seems to be fixed. Maybe we should break this up actually and have that there like that. Put another block. Yeah, so it leaves the entrance nice and open. I don't want a tree here either. Let's put a tree down on this corner, maybe in that spot. And then we can do another 1x1 here. And then perhaps a 2x2 again on the opposite corner. And these won't touch the building. And then a 1x1 here. Bring that up and out. Perhaps one a bit further in for this side. And then on the outside of the chunk again. Great, and then all we've got to do is fill in the spaces here with a bit of this undergrowth. And we'll have the look more or less complete. Let's just spam some blocks down for now. Okay, so we're starting to get the look and feel there now. If you imagine the leaves and the canopy up here, you've got the undergrowth, the temple hidden away. We'll put in some cocoa beans and some vines down the temple. Add in some more mossy on the sides here. Something like this perhaps, just to add a bit of detailing and break up that blank look, and then that will be done. I'll go ahead and make those edits. I'll grow the trees naturally and copy another one over here so you can see the different stages, and then we'll come back and look at that and I'll talk about the ideas I've got for the basement. So here comes the big reveal of what we've got so far. We started off with our vanilla jungle temple. We've compressed that down, designed at the block level to make it a usable space for players, added in some detailing, and this is what I've come up with. And I'm really pleased with how it looks. It's just like a jungle. You can run into the space here, move around. It's not easy, sometimes you'll go up and down vines. You know, you can imagine catching a creeper in here and running back away from him, whoa, and then hiding behind the vines. You can climb up the trees, you can get onto the roof up here, You can even get up onto the top here, and up onto the top of the trees as well. You can see I've redesigned the roof a little bit. I've put in a slightly lower central pyramid using stairs to reflect what was on the original jungle temple. Again, let me know if you prefer this one, that one, or the original one we looked at. And from the inside, I put the flat roof back in again because I wasn't sure about that. But I don't know, I'm in two minds. So yeah, let me know what you think about that, and then we'll come up with a version for the final game. What else is there? Oh yes, yeah, downstairs. I've done some of the design here. So you go down the stairs now, and normally where the levers would have been here on the left, I've knocked through here to create the second level with the alcoves running along the side, some vines, your dispenser, the trap down here, which fires the arrows from there, and then this chest in the temple, which has got a golden idol in with staring red eyes, nose and mouth, which I think is quite a nice touch, inspired by that image in Indiana Jones where he takes the old idol off the temple plate. Then on this side, again, down another set of stairs and into another basement. You can see it's quite difficult to run around inside here with the vines. I think I'm going to take some of those out because I feel like I've overdone it a little bit. But I do like the fact that it's difficult and you have to sort of double tap carefully to move around. And then I've got this open space right now. So I've put in the start of tree roots coming down from the surface. I grew all the trees obviously, and I've started pulling those down into the basement of this temple. Just put some torches down for the time being. And these temple roots will come down into the floor like this, and then we'll have them moving around on the floor like that with some detail in, so we might add in some stair blocks and things like that. The look I'm going for here is there's a jungle temple in Cambodia which is overgrown with these massive, I think they're called banyan trees, which surround the temple and sort of choke it, and they look really, really cool. I'm trying to get that look down into the basement of the temple, so I'll keep working on this. I'm going to blitz through it now because it's pretty late here and I need to get to bed. So I'm going to do that and come up with a final version hopefully. And I'll link you to the image that I'm thinking of that Cambodian temple in the description. And then you can take a look at that and see how you think it's gone. But I do think we're getting really, really close now, so hopefully it's not too much longer. And I'll come back and show you the finished product. And ta-da! Here it is. I finished up a final draft. I forgot to mention a couple of things last time as well. I've picked a window for the sides depending on the feedback I get, and I put in the 1x2 window on the side. I just think it looks better, it works better as a PvP space for bow fire and for information for players being able to see as much of the map as possible. I've added in detail on the sides of the chunk now, so you can see some ores in there. They don't really influence the gameplay that much, but I think it makes it look like it's been plucked from the ground, and that's the effect I'm going for. Let's take a run inside the temple now, and to the upstairs. The other thing I forgot to mention before is I've put in backstops here, so that if a player is shooting out the window with a bow and they get knocked backwards, you know, they'll stick here and they won't fall down. And I think that's fine. Players would probably end up doing that themselves anyway in certain situations. There's no reason why not to put it in there in the first place. I have gone crazy with the vines in here, and I definitely need to take some of those out, which I'll test in gameplay to see how many I want to keep in. Let's go downstairs to the upstairs downstairs, which we've already seen. The alcoves, dispenser, and then the chest over there. Hopefully you can see that. And then down to the downstairs, which is inspired by that Cambodian temple. And here we go. So we've got our big jungle tree roots coming down in different places around the chunk from the upstairs, splitting apart, moving around the bottom, and final one over here, and then one from there. I've put in a resource chest with a dead explorer in who's just had too much and he wants to take a rest. So check him out later and the resources he's got. I do need to do a little bit more work in here, I think. These logs here are all facing that way for now, I wasn't sure on the look, so I just decided to make it consistent, but I do want to put some sideways logs in, so I'll go and do that in the final game. But that is it for today. I need to head to bed. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've really enjoyed the episode and this insight into building chunk walls again. If you've got any comments or feedback for me on the look and feel of the temple, or just my video style, I'm still getting used to YouTube, then please let me know in the comments below. But until next time, bye bye!